And before tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about whatever happens to the 3 council members now. The bigger question is, how does the city and its people move forward? Let's bring in our panel to discuss what happens next. And joining me now is Pastor Oliver E. Bowie from Abundant Living Family Fellowships, Cal State LA professor Dr. Julianne Malveaux, and Reverend Walter Contreras, a faith root organizer for CLUE, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
And as we mentioned, Martinez did step down, but not entirely. She's still on the LA City Council. So Dr. Julianne Malveaux, I want to start with you. Will resigning her presidency be enough for the community, or should she leave the City Council entirely?
Well, she should leave the City Council entirely. In politics, it's always been off base to talk about people's children. So the Bush children got all kind of passes. The Obama children didn't stay in trouble, but Michelle and Barack were very fierce about keeping their kids out of the paper. And we could go back to others, Jimmy Carter, etc. How dare this woman call a black child a monkey? And how can her colleagues, as a brother said, Marquise, go sit in the room with them, knowing what they feel, what they think, and what they will do? Because this was not just about rhetoric. It was also what they thought, what they were going to do to marginalize black voting participation, black influence. Here's the deal. She should resign. She resigned her presidency. She should resign from the council, but that's not going to be enough. We have to really talk about the structural nature of anti-blackness and how it continues to show up in this city, how everybody brown ain't down, how many of our Latino brothers and sisters are allies, but this just showed that many of those in power and some of the most high-profile Latinos in the country, frankly, are anti-black. That's an issue that we have to deal with.
All right, Dr. Malveaux, I'd like to bring in Reverend Contreras here and ask him that same question. Should Neri Martinez step down from the council? Maybe should all 3 step down from the council? And also what Dr. Malveaux just talked about. Is there this specious relationship on the part of some brown and black constituents?
I believe that they should all resign. I've been working for 15 years with the black clergy and people from different religions. We built a coalition, and we've been working very, very hard to make sure that this kind of thing does not happen. So they're destroying everything that we have worked for the last 15 years. I think that the right thing to do, the moral thing to do, is accept responsibility and resign, because we cannot tolerate. We got to cut it from the root. That root problem is right there with these politicians are trying to grab power and using, us Latinos and African Americans, as pawns. We can't tolerate that. So my suggestion and my recommendation is get off your position. You lost your chance to lead well. We must stop this, because there's a lot of work that has been done to build trust among the African American, and I've been one of them of many. I mean, Pastor Oliver, who will probably you hear from him, also participated with us for so many years to make sure that we are doing the right thing as we are representing African American. There is no place for racism, no place for racism right now.
Reverend Contreras? No, thank you, sir. And I just want to pick up on what you said. I'm going to bring in Pastor Bowie here. Giving some historical preference here, the LA riots, of course, were 30 years ago this year in April. It's hard to believe, though, in 2022 that we're still dealing with this type of behavior from people in positions of power. That's something that Reverend Contreras just spoke about. Now, Pastor Bowie, what do you think has changed the most in the last 3 decades regarding public response to racism?
I don't know what's changed the most, but unfortunately, as we are facing this incident which took place, I have discovered, unfortunately, many people, once they gain power, unfortunately, tend to emulate those very things that they once said they hated once they are in power. I think as we move forward 30 years, and I believe also with the climate, due a great deal of the last administration in the White House has also emboldened many people to speak what's on their hearts and on their minds Unfortunately, here in Los Angeles, this situation has come about. And what it has done, unfortunately, it has taken us back from all the hard work that Black and Brown have done together. But what I like to say, I think that we have an opportunity once these leaders, unfortunately, who have made these statements move out the way, that our goal as Black and Brown, and with all, but especially with Black and Brown, that we look to build bridges and not walls.
All right, Reverend Bowie, thank you so much. Dr. Malveaux, I want to pick up on what Pastor Bowie and Reverend Contreras were talking about. I brought in the riots from 30 years ago because that's when we first had to form commissions and coalitions to talk about things that were happening. Reaction here, is it different this time? Because it seems like people have boldly spoken out from all sides about what has happened here, and it seems like they resent the work that has been done over the past 30 years and how, you know, it seems to have not necessarily fallen apart, but when you hear leaders talk in this manner, it sort of puts them on the offensive, like, look, we've done all of this work and you just could possibly dismantle it with just one leaked audio tape about your true feelings.
Well, you know, the one leaked audio tape is probably the tip of the iceberg. Is there more? And, you know, when we look at the roots of this, I mean, it's not just the comments that were made in October of a year ago. It's also the ground that allows these comments to be made. I respect the two gentlemen who've talked about building Black-Brown bridges, but I think we have to be honest and say that while we're building some bridges, there are other connections that are fraying. And part of this is a result of predatory capitalism impact on having Black-Brown competition. But the fact is that that woman, the Nori
Martinez.
I don't even understand how someone could have such an attitude and also call a colleague a little rhymes with witch. I mean, it's just reprehensible that colleagues would behave this way. And as a college dean, what I would ask is, what kind of example are they giving to our young people? What are they teaching our young people?
Well, let's hear from someone in the community. And the reaction, of course, has been very swift to this leaked audio. Protesters, in fact, immediately took the streets, even in front of Nori Martinez's house, demanding her resignation. Here's some response to what Martinez said from a local mother.
Because it's not acceptable. Their apologies are trash to me. They're trash. Because of people like that, this is what makes people not want to vote, not want to participate, not want to help out. It's because of people like this.
Well, the community is obviously upset over the comments from Councilmember Martinez. Reverend Walter Contreras, how much damage has this done, and can the community move forward from this, since we're hearing from so many community members?
The only way we can move forward is if those people who said that they apologize and they truly are sincere, they will step down. There should not be no tolerance for this kind of a speech, because it speaks from what is in their hearts. We as Christians, we as leaders of faith, we believe that comes out of here is coming out from here. So we must do that. We must stay united. I've worked very hard. We're working very hard to keep both communities together, to fight against, you know, not only racism, but there is stereotyping. There is hiring. We look at the way we are hiring and why we're discriminating against African Americans. So my call as a Latino is to tell other Latinos to stand up for what is right and have the right moral authority not to tolerate this. The best thing that they can do if we want to move forward, they got to step down.
All right, Dr. Bowie, I'm going to give you the last word here.
I agree with Pastor Contreras. He and I have worked together and we have built bridges among ourselves. I believe that, number one, we cannot judge all our brown sisters and brothers by just a few. And I have been fortunate enough to work with Churla, able to work with Clue and other Hispanic or Latina or Latino organizations. I think right now, here's an opportunity. We can remain angry, but we need to gather those who are on the same page, who are Black and brown, who say this is a wake-up call and an opportunity for us not to just simply preach about who we are, but the opportunity to live out here in Los Angeles and be the model, not only for Los Angeles, but for the whole country. And we have that opportunity because, let me say this, number one is being a preacher. Redemption of our people is always important. And I want to get together with my brown sisters and brothers who want to walk together to build the future that our forefathers like Cesar Chavez and Martin Luther King, who united together and have moved us forward to where we are today. So I say, I want us to look back that we may look forward, that we can have that brighter future. And I'm willing to work with those brown sisters and brothers who want to do that.
Okay, I could see Dr. Malveaux. All right, I'm going to give you the last word, Dr. Malveaux, because both of the gentlemen here they touched on something, economic impact, disparities. And you mentioned that at the beginning of this interview about how things can change, or how they can only change, besides the people that said those reprehensive words to step down. But just take a look at the impact of what they have said or what they were discussing in terms of financial impact.
The structural piece is the most important piece. They can step down and they can be replaced with similar racists. They can so it's really, what can we do about an economic structure that essentially rewards oppression? Because that's what's happening. And much of the black-brown conflict is, as the brother said, the Reverend, who gets the jobs? We have to ask those kind of questions. Who gets jobs? Can we distribute jobs more evenly? And can we have conversations, open conversations about what this economic oppression is about and who benefits from it? See, because we're pretty much in the same space often, but we don't pay attention to that same space. We choose to use that to compete. The conversation was not only reprehensible because of the epithets that were used, but it's also reprehensible because of the sensibility that allowed them to use those epithets.
Well, Dr. Julianne Malveaux, Reverend Walter Contreras, and Reverend William Bowie, thank you so much for joining us this evening and really shining a big spotlight on not only that conversation, but what needs to happen to move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you
so much.